Welcome back, everyone, to year 4 of the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise rebuild. There are parts of this team that are playing really well right now. Chuck Johnson has been really good in his second year as our starting quarterback. But we have not seen a very fast start for the rookie running backs. It's a young offense. Last episode, we did see Benji Cormier put together a really strong game, but broke his ribs the next week, and he's going to miss our next 3 games. He's our only running back this year to rush for 100 yards in a game. It may seem like a small change, but I do think having LaDainian Bigby as our starting center boosts our running game at least a little bit. And today we're going to see Joe Johnson and Trey Benson try to pick up where Cormier was leaving off. Defensively, this was an absolute mess last episode. We gave up some ridiculous games to young, non-elite quarterbacks. And we're going to be missing one of our better pass rushers today in Jonathan Moore, out the next 6 weeks with an ankle injury. Before we get into games today, we do have to see who wants to have a little conversation. Let's step into the coach's office now for a moment to have a word with Eli Arrington. It always comes back to Eli Arrington. What do you want this time, Eli? You wanted a new quarterback. You wanted the football a couple years ago. Today he's saying, I'm not involved enough. Maybe I need more touches. Maybe I don't belong here. We have seen this scenario play out before. I actually have a playbook now where he has the ability to get rush attempts. It's a pretty ridiculous scenario. An unhappy receiver says, I want the football and not just catches. I want handoffs. There are certain receivers that you should never give a handoff to, but this is so ridiculous. Like 6 and 2 would be reasonable. I don't know, 7 and 3? Why does he say 4? There's so many things wrong with the storylines in Madden 25. And yet we're here because the process of the franchise rebuilds I do is really fun, even when the game is flawed. This has been some of the most fun I've had doing one of these series in a little while. +3 accuracy medium here for Chuck Johnson is a really nice boost. So short and medium are now firmly in the 90s. Let's upgrade the happiest man on the team, Eli Arrington, with the physical archetype this time, or apparently deep threat. I thought I hit physical. It's getting late. Might be a weird video. And as I get the upgrades for Brian Thomas Jr., continuing to emphasize the route running. 1 medium, deep, and short this time around. I'd still like more short and medium route running. Now, 3 and 4 doesn't sound like all that exciting of a record, but we open today as a tied for first place football team, okay? The Texans aren't doing much better than us. Even worse than them are the Indianapolis Colts, a team that I've consistently talked up in this series. They've drafted 2 X factors in their offense. One of them is their highest rated player in Richie Kidd. What's not to like about the Colts? Well, Anthony Richardson is injured, so that changes the entire dynamic then of the team. He has played most games this year. They're 2 and 4 with him. I can't imagine they're a whole lot better without him. So what do y'all know about Clemson quarterback Brad Griffin? He is the starter in place of Richardson, and these are very good ratings for a backup, and he is the number 35 ranked quarterback in the league, which would make him a top 5 backup quarterback, at least theoretically on paper, with very good mobility, conservative decision-making, ideal sense of pressure. I could see him actually playing pretty well. Needless to say, though, we need to win this game and get to 4 and 4. By the way, I'm using my custom offensive playbook, but also brand new for the series, I have a custom defensive game plan. Didn't really adjust the playbook, but it only took me a couple minutes to throw together a revised game plan, removing some plays I don't like, cover 2 invert from all situations. And then I also threw in, they like the double A gap looks in this game, but usually the playbooks only call like cover 3 sky and different actual coverages. Well, I threw in a couple double A gap. Oh, they got trick return plays here on the kicks. I didn't know that. I threw in a couple double A gap blitzes as well. So when we come out in that alignment, you're not sure if we're playing coverage or bringing pressure. Now, a talking point after last episode and after a lot of these is about the clock management late in games. It has taken a noticeable step back here in Madden 25. And I saw, top comment on the last video was saying basically that I should just start, jumping in during some of these late drives and, call timeouts as it would make sense to and not see the clock run off like we're doing the Matt Eberflus simulator. One thing that's important to me in these series is having a pretty even playing field, and with a lot of the flaws throughout the years in Madden, I've kind of just talked about it like it affects us, it affects the CPU, it kind of evens out, but it's not really satisfying to see it have a huge impact on the end of games, obviously. So I'm considering if we can make it a pretty even experience, getting into some of these late, final minute situations, really just for the purposes of clock management. I might test it out and see what the CPU does, because sometimes there are differences in the game from Super Sim versus playing the game traditionally. And I don't want to give myself a huge advantage there versus the CPU, because clock management is something that skews the game heavily when one side does it well and one side does it poorly. Of course, there are many things in the game that give the user the advantage. For instance, I'm using custom playbooks, so I have them optimized for what I want to do, and maybe more importantly, optimized against a lot of things that would hurt the team. So we might do a little experimenting is all, and we'll see if a situation pops up where it makes sense. If I do end up in a situation where I have to get into the game, make a change, and call a play, I do have coach mode on, so I don't have to actually control the players if I do end up calling a play. Oh, that's a big one there. 50-yard touchdown, Joe Johnson. So we'll just kind of cross the bridge when that shows up. We spent a lot of time on these early season games. I do want this to go by a little bit faster as Eli Arrington catches the touchdown. It's not so much I'm considering this change to give us an advantage, but more so just to have better, finishes to games. More satisfying. That's a fumble recovered by the Colts. Ideally, it becomes a situation that helps out us and the CPU. Just making sure kind of the right things happen in terms of clock management and timeout usage. Vita Vea with the sack on Griffin. Let's focus on the game now. We have the Colts trailing by 7. They are driving, but now 3rd down and 11. The pressure arrives again. That is Dion McBride. I signed him right before week 1 for edge rush depth, and he gets us off the field. So 5 minutes to go and trying to close things up. Johnson downfield, and Brenton Strange makes the catch. It is a 2-touchdown day so far for Johnson, 1 interception. So a 16 touchdown, 5 interception ratio this year. That's very solid. Trey Benson getting some carries, but certainly, Arrington coming off. Injuries have certainly been a story of the year. Johnson deep drop on 2nd down and completes again. It's Luke McCaffrey. Pressure on the way and picked up. Really nice play there to get 5 yards when they got so aggressive. Hoping to see the offensive line just get better progressively throughout the year. Holding up as the 1st down catch is made by Trey Tucker. And the hits just keep coming. 4-man rush, and that is Trey Benson with a big 1st down catch as we continue to bleed the clock. Unique look here. Brian Thomas at running back with Joe Johnson at receiver, and Brian Thomas picks up 4. Joe Johnson, the running back. Toss on 3rd and 2. He's got the touchdown. A multi-touchdown game for Joe Johnson. Very big to have games like this if you want Rookie of the Year, potential milestones for bonus experience. So in this series, we haven't really done a great job exactly of winning the games we're supposed to, but we do here comfortably by 14, getting to 500. Really good game from Chuck Johnson, 80% completion percentage, And while Joe Johnson doesn't go for 100 yards, he did have a really good day, largely because he had a 50-yard run in there. But we also contained Jonathan Taylor, and we didn't get embarrassed by a young quarterback. So overall, one of our best games of the year. And the injury to Briscoe didn't appear to be anything in particular. We see a lot of guys leave and then return. So upgrading him, we go with power. Really want to focus on the power stuff here for interior players. And then we've seen some ups and downs this year from Ezra Telfer. We'll go with the slot archetype, and thankfully he's still a scheme fit. But coverage up in both categories, +3 tackling. And if he's going to play the slot, that becomes a much more critical rating, which we saw way back in week 1 when he had 2 chances but failed to sack CJ Stroud. Yeah, what's the worst that could happen with Eli Arrington? This guy's never happy, so let's see. You didn't get me the touches you promised, and as a leader, I need to hold you accountable. Again, we're coming around to this whole 24-year-old receiver holding the coach accountable. What's going to happen? You don't want to know. If you don't give me 20 rush attempts and 100 catches. He already said he wouldn't re-sign. There's not a whole lot more he can do. I don't know if Madden put in full trade demands. I feel like they might have. But guess what, Eli? We're hitting the trade deadline in week 9. Gary Paul and the Lions welcome the Jaguars. So Gary Paul is one of the quarterbacks that I passed on 2 drafts ago when I decided we would stick with Trevor Lawrence. And then, of course, we changed over to Chuck Johnson after a really good preseason. But the Lions, they had Gary Paul sit behind Jared Goff for a year, and now roles have reversed in Detroit. Gary Paul, star development. Why did I not take him? The oblivious sense of pressure was a big reason why. That, and I saw he had 2nd to 3rd round talent, but it was fluctuating between that and 1st to 2nd round or whatever the next level up was. I was a little scared by that. His ratings look good. The traits are kind of scary. I'm actually curious about watching at least some of this game just to get a little taste of how he actually plays with that oblivious sense of pressure. And being that he's an out-of-conference opponent, we only get this chance every so often. All right, strategy session time. We are gathering to talk about the Lions' weaknesses. So Joe Johnson here, the rookie, is saying we can run on these guys. We have the 4th round rookie calling the shots now as our offensive coordinator and top running back. Really multi-talented guy there, Joe Johnson. How do we measure success? Joe Johnson has a $125 or 2 rushing touchdowns. I'd recalibrate the goals here. Do you know how rare a 125-yard rushing game is? Unless you're Saquon Barkley and it happens on a weekly basis, you might hit that once a year as an average starting running back, and that's a maybe. 75 yards is a good game. 125 is a great game. I like the way these numbers look for Chuck Johnson as we get into week 9. And this is also the week of the trade deadline, keep in mind. I am not really looking to make any moves, though. We're in a weird spot at 4-4. The early portion of this game is an offensive struggle. But the first points come to begin the 2nd quarter with Joe Johnson running in a 1-yard touchdown. We're driving on our next possession. Can we do it again? The goal was 2 touchdowns. And Trey Benson getting the carries doesn't help. Eli Arrington scores the touchdown. Here's Detroit at 5-3. Gary Paul has them at the 25. It's Jahmyr Gibbs on the carry, and he gains 6. I really should go over who the top players are at each position now in the franchise. There's a chance that Jahmyr Gibbs is like the #1 running back. That'd be pretty likely. He is an X factor, stays in to protect as Paul finds the open receiver. I mostly want to see what happens when he faces incoming pressure. Can we create any? Paul fires! Caught at the goal line. They'll say shorts. Gibbs, touchdown. I mean, who's stopping Detroit around the goal line in the Dan Campbell era? Not us. Lions driving, going for the tie in the 3rd quarter. But a drop ends their drive with a 4th down field goal. Trey Tucker, the motion man, and a 3rd and 4. Conversion, no! Drop, Joe Johnson. That's a weakness. And I haven't been upgrading it in his rookie season. Simply hoping these weaknesses don't show up in critical moments has not been a winning strategy. In the Bronco game, we had them picking on Ezra Telfer to get in field goal range. There we miss a very makeable 3rd down conversion. Giving a good team extra chances doesn't bode well, as Paul has to dirt this ball. All right, showing pressure this time. Double A gap, dropping out. Paul pressured. Out of there and scrambling. Going down just in time. 4-man rush on 3rd down, and Josh Hines Allen brings him down. It's a 3-sack day for him. And at age 32, he's putting in one of his best seasons, perhaps. He was actually Player of the Week a couple games ago when we had like a terrible defensive performance, but he showed up, had like 2.5 sacks. So 9 minutes left to go, and we are set to have Davis take this back into Detroit territory. Chuck Johnson to the air and to the ground. 3 sacks for the Lions. Yeah, not a great day for the offenses. Neither team has reached 200 yards yet. Trey Benson, though, he'll get us closer, fighting through initial contact. Here comes Brian Thomas. 3rd and 7. Johnson! He did not get through that cleanly whatsoever. So I think the first time I break out any of this experimenting with the clock stuff, I prefer it to be when the CPU has the ball, because I want to see if that changes anything they're willing to do in terms of calling timeouts. They don't spike the ball here in Super Sim. Will they be willing to spike the ball perhaps if we're actually in the game? I haven't been playing, Madden regularly this year. This is really the extent of what I've done on the game, is my Super Sim rebuild franchise and a couple other small things. 6.5 minutes on the clock. Paul to St. Brown. 3rd and 3 for Paul, and I can't believe he caught that. Pressure doesn't get there. It's hard to get pressure on these Detroit quarterbacks, which is why I felt that if Paul doesn't do well under pressure, that this is the ideal landing spot, given you have players like Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, and a whole host of playmakers, one being Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, 3 superstars on the right side of that line. I mean, who's getting through that on a regular basis? Even the right guard is a superstar. 2nd and 4, and continuing to pick us apart is Gary Paul. Fake to Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's going to be lost yardage. Out there, Zach Bond. 3rd and 8. Screen, it's Gibbs, and he's going to get very close. Detroit should go for it here. It is Dan Campbell in a 4-point game. They will leave the offense on. Empty for Paul. Has time. Caught. It continues. 5-man pressure. That's a strike inside the 10. 90 seconds to go in the game. Not a huge factor for Detroit. But keep in mind as Paul completes at the 1. That's Hall, who's been catching passes consistently. Now under a minute left. And Gary Paul scans and throws away. So far, I haven't seen anything in his game I would say like that's a major negative. I think he's actually scrambled away from pressure and handled it well. This time, Laporta doesn't get in. They mark him short. The clock is stopped. Why isn't it moving? Was it incomplete? Had to be. Paul again. Fires. Touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. And with 45 to play, Detroit has taken the lead. Thanks to a quarterback I refuse to draft. All right, so this is kind of the exact scenario that I've been talking about in this video with the clock management and maybe backing out of slow sim to be able to call timeout or spike the ball. We'll see what happens here. 43 seconds and return to the 24. Can we get in field goal range? We have a great kicker. We're in a climate-controlled dome here in Detroit, Michigan. And Chuck Johnson gets back to work, and the pressure is there immediately. It's going to take a big play to get us in range. 37 seconds on the clock. Dumped off. Arrington, can he go far enough? Big pickup, timeout. Another gain like that could get us closer. Short, and gotta burn it there. So this is not looking good, everybody. We have to get out of bounds. Sending 4 and firing. Incomplete for Arrington. 3rd and 7, Chuck Johnson. Steps up. Lets it fly. Deep downfield. No! Bat of the way from Trey Tucker. And the game comes down to this 4th and 7. If we convert it, we need to get out of bounds. Pass. Incomplete, and Detroit will win this game. Gary Paul led them on an 18-play journey to take the lead and hand us our 5th loss of the season. I thought he looked pretty good in the limited chances we got to see him play. Detroit wins. No interceptions in this game, but we could not get our passing game really put together, while Detroit did by the end of it. And our running game wasn't nearly good enough. We got one of the 2 touchdowns that Joe Johnson was looking for. And we're going to upgrade elusive back again. It's now a 79. Perhaps more importantly, though, we get to upgrade both of our starting tackles. We'll go with power in this instance for Joey Harper. Still pretty hopeful about his overall ceiling. And we'll upgrade power as well for Jelani Swain. We are seeing a morale drop for him. And allowing sacks is hurting his morale. It could be his fault. I mean, if they're both on him. Lost on the road. That's a 4-point drop in 1 week. And all it takes is a few points for morale to start affecting ratings. It starts off at 50. His is 44. So losing does have its consequences. So it's our bye week. It's time to do some self-scouting. And what are the findings of our internal research? We've got a burner at wide receiver, and his yards per catch is low. Yeah, it's extremely low this year for Eli Arrington. We've had this scenario pop up 3 different times now. We're not going to hit it because we've never hit it before. And he's averaging like 9 yards a reception this year. I identified and drafted one of the most dynamic receiving talents I've seen in any of these drafts. He is the 9th ranked receiver in the league, Eli Arrington. But it's been a struggle to keep him happy and to have success with these storylines. Production-wise, we've seen him be good. Great at times. This year, definitely falling, almost inexplicably. This is the 2nd time now Josh Hines-Allen is AFC Defensive Player of the Week in a losing effort. And he currently leads the team with 8 sacks. Next closest is injured Jonathan Moore at 4.5, with Vita Vea with the same mark. Why don't we take a look at who some of the top players in our league are? It is the 2028 season. How has this league been unfolding? There are many 99 overall players. Brock Purdy is a 97 apparently. But the best quarterbacks in the game, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, not really a huge surprise there. But we are seeing a lot of the young quarterbacks from this series. Derek Phillips is one of them, Caleb Ross. The players who really hit the ground running can develop really fast. And that's without me really doing anything with the XP sliders. I think I've juiced it a little for the regression side of things, but I haven't really done the deep dive and research into this year's game like I did 24. Jahmyr Gibbs is indeed the top running back in the league, and I think that the overall range here looks really solid. Regression at running back has been handled pretty nicely out of the box, honestly. At wide receiver, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson are your 99s. As far as the breakout from the actual draft classes we've had, Eli Arrington is the best. And it's a bit of a drop-off before you find the next players. Top tight end, currently Brock Bowers, Sam Laporta, and TJ Hawkinson. Richie Kidd is number 4. And 3 of the top 5 tight ends went to Iowa. Offensive line is a spot where we come across a lot of players that are in the low to mid 80s, but not many that break out higher because you need the high development to really get there. So Tristan Wirfs, Quentin Nelson, nobody else here is even a 90. At center, it's Creed Humphrey. Right guard, Trey Smith. Right tackle, Penei Sewell. The answer really isn't to juice the progression. The real issue isn't something we can solve. It's just the nature of how tackles develop and the way tackles come into the class, which you do have some control with draft class strength, but not nearly enough tools to nicely solve the problem. On defense, Aiden Hutchinson is now a Ram, a 99 overall left end. Myles Garrett, 95 overall at age 32. Defensive tackle, not as many standouts. I've ran through some sims where there are a lot of excellent defensive tackles and the league is full of high-end guys. It's not really like that in our league. We've had some weaker classes. Dexter Lawrence is the top guy. At linebacker, there's Micah Parsons, Fred Warner at inside linebacker, Alex Highsmith at right outside linebacker. At cornerback, Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain II, Trent McDuffie, who should be a Viking, but they, for some reason, didn't take him when they had the chance. Derek Stingley, Jair Alexander, Antoine Winfield's top free safety, and Kyle Hamilton, somebody else the Vikings could have taken, but didn't. At 4 and 5, we are still tied for first place with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Las Vegas Raiders are the current 1 seed in the conference, and there is not a 2 seed that rivals their record currently. Next up, we take on New England. It is a Jaguars win, and a dominant one. 406 yards to 182 yards. We see Drake May throw 2 touchdowns and, did go with the plays he had, but sacked 5 times. Benji Cormier returns and immediately rushes for 85 yards efficiently at 5.3 per carry. We hold their run game in check. Joe Johnson scores twice. Nice game. I'm pretty happy with that. Arrington goes for 9 and 105. I decided he's no longer getting listed at slot receiver. It just hasn't benefited us statistically or really allowed us to do anything but hand him the football a few times. And I'm not sure that's better. We split up the sacks this week. Not bad. 5 players getting a piece of that pie. Trayvon Walker, a sack and a half. We suffer an injury, unfortunately. And it is to Trey Benson. He'll miss 7 weeks now with a foot fracture. It seems that whenever somebody comes off the injury report, in this case, Benji Cormier, someone takes their place. That means he is done for the regular season, and the rest of the way, it's our rookies. I'd love to see us take home a Rookie of the Year award, and Joe Johnson having 7 touchdowns has to give him the upper hand. Cormier has been the more efficient runner. As receivers, neither has been incredible contributors, but I don't think our numbers are going to be Rookie of the Year worthy as they sit right now. First place is Kendrick Judge. Johnson is in 3rd place. I know that Kendrick Judge is a running back. Alan Kelly, I can't remember exactly, but we'd have a lot of work to do if we want to see either one win it. We get 2-8 Tennessee this week. They sit at the basement of this division while we, for the moment, own first place. Houston is 4-7. 2 more losses than we have. What a great opportunity for the Jaguars if they can win this game. Why are we wearing these uniforms? Why not? They don't look that bad. The Jags just lost a lot of games in them. All right, y'all want to see some football? Let's get it going today. Tennessee is 2-8. They stink this year. And with a 4-man rush, knocked away and almost intercepted on the opening play of the game. Now is Chauncey Billups continuing to get snaps here or there. We should learn his development relatively soon. Pass is hauled in this time for a gain of 7. By the way, it's apparently Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody. That's caught. First down, Titans. Failed to do a proper preview, but their current starter is Brandon Patton. Will Levis is listed second on the depth chart, and Ryan Mills is third. Patton is not a rookie. This is apparently his 4th season. He has solid mobility, 86 speed, 74 awareness. And he has decent accuracies. It's 88 short, 81 medium, 77 deep. It's a little bit limiting, but he can at least get the ball out on the short stuff. So it's really going from one bridge quarterback to the next. From Will Levis to Brandon Patton. They try to wheel outside with success. 7 yards. That's Ray Davis. Big run now into the second level, Ray Davis. Titans off to a good start, and that is broken up. J.D. Short covering the boundary. Blitz sent and all over him. Martin Cooper at the 47. And the Jaguars take over with Chuck Johnson trying to put this team in the AFC South driver's seat. And we go 1st and 10. Chuck throws quickly. Welcome back to Curtis Easley, who has missed a lot of time this year. Came back just a little bit ago. He missed, I believe, 5 games with an injury. But now for the stretch run, he tries to earn a contract extension. Inside goes Benji Cormier for a couple. Knowing some of the talent along this D-line, with Sweat especially now developed, I wouldn't expect to run well on this team. And that's been the case on the first 2 plays. Good protection, and Patton completes. Larry Callahan. Running it again, up the middle. Gashing is Ray Davis. Patton gets it out and completes, and that is Kelly. He is also in the running for Rookie of the Year, currently in 2nd place. We have a front row seat to some of our competition there. Titans putting together a solid drive and getting around the edge for 3. They performed better than I liked in our first meeting this season. We still won that game. And we stacked them up on a 3rd and 1. What do they have to lose, though? They're 2-8. Nate Bell, he's down here watching his defense. Send the pressure and give it up. Callahan, 1st down. Pressure on 3rd down. Gets there. And Telfer still can't get the sack on his own. He might get half credit there. Man, he cannot tackle quarterbacks, can he? They're treating it like it's his sack, but Devon Lewis really made the play. Yeah, they're hyping him up, though. I mean, that's about as much love as you can get for missing a tackle. Titans bring on field goal team now. It's a 47-yard try, and they're on the board. Tennessee's been controlling the clock to this point. And Cormier gets the carry. Nice run up to the 35. To me, he's looked a little bit further along in his game in the regular season than Johnson. That's a catch coming across Arrington. Arrington, the single receiver, top of the screen. 3rd and 7. Johnson decides it wasn't worth it. An interception for Sergio Baxter gives us the ball with a red zone trip. Can we turn it into a touchdown? Jags are 6 yards out. Johnson hits the pass, and Brian Thomas scores the touchdown. What could we do now with a minute on the clock? Titans quickly turn the football over or just punt it away. One-handed snag by Arrington. Pressure coming. Johnson! That's better than a sack. Come on, don't let this 2-8 team bring you down to their level. We got to do more than 7 points. Johnson with some touch finds Arrington. First down. Titans send 4. Johnson. Nice grab made by Cormier. And now, clock runs down. Left with 10 and 1 timeout. So at least we could stop the clock here. We can use the middle of the field. Hey, they called the timeout at least. And we're about to see, I believe, a 64-yard field goal try. This is Brandon Aubrey from the Jaguar half of the field right now. He kicks this one up, and it is good! Aubrey does it from the parking lot. Jaguars lead by 7. The record is still Justin Tucker's 66-yarder that bounced off the Ford Field crossbar a couple years ago. I have a feeling we will, in the next 10 years, see somebody hit from 70. Just feels like the upper limits of what these guys can kick goes up and up across the board. Arrington has catches of 13 and 16 on this drive. Jaguars into Titan territory. Curtis Easley will get his usual 7 yards. Fake to Cormier. And then dumped off. And that is a first down, Joe Wilder. Oh, I haven't had the Super Sim bug happen much lately. The bug where I can no longer manually back out. See if it corrects itself. Oh, that was close for Brian Thomas. Cormier gets the carry. Heads outside. Nice juke. I just think his little subtle shiftiness and just some of the things he does changing direction make him really intriguing. Cormier, breakaway inside the 10, and it's goal to go for the rookie. What I was going to do when I was backing out was get Joe Johnson listed as halfback 1 to get some carries. So Cormier had to break the game so he could handle all this and show us what he's all about. Joe Johnson does check in now. That is a very tall Sheffield in front of him as he picks his way through. Joe Johnson, touchdown. That's a lot of pressure. Vita Vea brings down Patton. And it's turning into the game I was hoping it would be. 3rd and 12, Tennessee. Patton gets time, and they will not convert. Sticky coverage courtesy of J.D. Short. We'll run up the middle, and Cormier is just a really fun player to watch. If this is version 1 of Benji Cormier, then his role isn't going to be going anywhere. I see him and Joe Johnson being a really good duo, and I'm just trying to find the best way to split the carries and make sure they're both getting a chance to play. Whether that just is by what formations we ultimately use, which ones call for the 3rd down back 1 or the halfback 1, or the auto subs getting to a spot where we can split things up a little bit better. It's Johnson on 2nd down. A laser to Arrington. Yeah, plays like that are awful refreshing. Play action. And Johnson dumped for a loss. Had time, but did not make the most of it. Gotta at least get 3 here. Make this a very tough comeback for Tennessee. 3rd down and 16. Johnson steps up and runs. Can he get there? He's got it. 1st down. 3 tight ends, and Benji Cormier gets the carry and makes the most out of it. Gain of 9. Straight ahead. Cormier reaches but doesn't break the plane. Now we're going to throw it. Johnson, get out of there. He is sacked. Cormier breaks the tackle, but still goes down for a loss, hit by Tavondre Sweat. Jacksonville now facing 3rd and goal. We have Chuck Johnson again for Brian Thomas with the strong hands. A 2-touchdown day. Josh Hines Allen brings down Patton. He can actually celebrate perhaps having a good game in a victory this time. Downfield, and he somehow caught it. That's Kelly. That hurts. 24-3 with 5 minutes left. Cooper chases down Patton for the sack. We show pressure. Here come 5. They counter it. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Ricky Pearsall. There's no way they make this a game, right? 4.5 minutes on the clock. That is complete to Trey Tucker. Johnson hits Tucker again. Got a nice step on the defense that time. Cormier is the running back. He finally gets his first carry of the drive and is shoved ahead. To the air we go. 1st down. Really good drive for Tucker. On a 3rd and 3. Turned away. There won't be a touchdown on this drive. But Brandon Aubrey can tack on 3, and this game is about wrapped up. Oh boy, Devin Lloyd flying through. Jaguars get their 6th sack of the game. So by all accounts, a very complete performance for us, as we will be moving to 6-5 and can hopefully tighten our grip on this division. 4th down, Tennessee. Patton floating and knocked away. Devin Lloyd. Great win for Jacksonville, sweeping Tennessee and moving to 4-1 in division. 4 of our 6 victories are against the teams we are supposed to be beating if we want to be division champs. Again, really solid game from Chuck Johnson, and this has become the expected result of him this year. And he's taken better care of the football. And we're seeing just the flow of the offense and how nice it is when the running game does step up, as they did throughout this game. 77 for Benji Cormier. Not really a fan of our current backfield split, so probably need to get more aggressive on the auto subs if that can be a part of the solution. We do have an injury coming out of this game. It is not Luke McCaffrey, but the 2nd injury this year for Trayvon Walker. Big hits to our defensive line. We are alone atop the AFC South, and we split with Houston this year. Now, big test for us taking on the top scoring offense in all of football, the Kansas City Chiefs. They put up 422 yards a game. That's with Isaiah Pacheco as an 89 overall running back. Rashee Rice, one of the top-rated receivers, but there's also Quan Leno and Derek Hooker, 2 other 80-plus rated receivers. Here is Leno, 2nd-year player out of Mississippi State, wearing Dwayne Bowe's 82, and really good short route running. There's a 6-point boost coming from something. And Matt Waddle is their Travis Kelce replacement. Being the tight end in this offense is usually a rocket ship to success, and that's what we're seeing from Waddle this year. He's been our center lately, and things have stabilized with the offensive line. It's LaDamian Bigby. Let's go with power. He's more of an agile, focused player, so strengthening that weakness. Stanley Billups. We still don't know his development, but will very shortly. I want some zone here, and I do see him as a likely eventual starter. We're trying to show we are a legitimate playoff team this year, and winning this game, that could really propel our path to the postseason. But the AFC South is saying, go ahead, you can have the division this year. Are the Jaguars willing to finally take it for the first time in the franchise? Well, we just gave up a 3rd and 18 on the opening drive, so that's not a promising sign. If you're going to give Patrick Mahomes any extra opportunities, you're not getting away with it. But we answer, and Trey Tucker has a 31-yard score. Remember, this is the highest scoring offense in football, and they've been moving the football like it. No issue scoring all over again. So can Chuck Johnson keep up with the great Patrick Mahomes? 7 and change to go in the first half. Arrington motions out. He makes the catch and gets laid out at the 40. Fake to Cormier. Johnson running for the first down. Still flying up the numbers inside the 10. I'm always amazed just how much space there is for him to run sometimes. I mean, these 20-plus yard scrambles have been a regular part of the action. That's trouble for Cormier. Misdirection. Cormier, nothing there. And it's difficult to beat this team relying too heavily on field goals. 3rd and goal for Chuck Johnson. He faces pressure and will not come close. I don't think we've really watched us face the Chiefs before in this series. But here's what they're all about now. That 87 has been moved over to the newest tight end. That's Matt Waddle, gain of 8. Superstar in the backfield. Superstar at receiver. Great offensive lineman. And oh yeah, Patrick Mahomes. 4-man pressure and still hitting Waddle underneath easily. Mahomes dumps it. Waddle. Yeah, this is going to be the next great tight end, I believe, at our franchise. Already 5 catches here in the first half. 1:24 to go. Screen, Pacheco. It's just too easy. Chiefs now 3 yards away. Mahomes throwing. Touchdown. It's there for Rashee Rice. We're going to need a lot more touchdowns. 3rd quarter down 11. Jaguars trying to keep this a game. Trey Tucker runs into a wall of defenders. 3rd down and 9. Johnson will take off again. And not quite reach the first down, but gets... Oh, you can't punt here. You can't punt this football. But we are. That's a lot more faith in our defense than I possess. He is your current MVP, projected MVP. Can the defense tighten up on this possession? We get pressure. Mahomes has it knocked away by Telfer. Play action. Mahomes downfield for Rice. The rookie knocked away the previous one. He goes right at the rookie this time. We send pressure, and it works this time on a 3rd down blitz. Hard to let Mahomes just stand in a clean pocket and deliver. So I like the aggressiveness. It'll keep this a 2-possession game. Can we get a sudden gust of wind, though? Not here. The kick is good. Fake to Cormier. Chuck Johnson rips it for Arrington. And he's across midfield. Yeah, I'm already enjoying the looks he's getting not playing in the slot. It's good for volume. It's not always great for maximizing one's skill set when you're Eli Arrington talented. Now that play was a mess. Now you got to get 20 back. And you don't want to be 3rd and 16 here, down 14. By the time you touch the football again, it might be the 4th quarter. So a very pivotal play then for Chuck Johnson. And he's got Arrington with a man wearing a number 50. Good luck with that. Touchdown. Jaguars in this thing. You know what? That was actually the one way you can beat teams deep out of the slot. That's one of the money plays this year. A little slot fade action. So running back, he's occupying the outside. Wow. You're telling me 50 was supposed to be manned up here? Well, it just doesn't get a whole lot easier than this. And Mahomes throws it to the outside. Matt Waddle has at least 7 catches. 37 seconds left. Josh Hines Allen couldn't bring down Mahomes. He is the most difficult quarterback to sack in NFL history. What is the pressure to conversion ratio there on trying to sack Patrick Mahomes? To the outside and flying inside the 25. Nice pitch and catch. Final play of the quarter. One more connection with Matt Waddle that takes us into the 4th. The Jaguars are in this game, but it's going to take 1 or 2 very big time plays to truly win this matchup. Chiefs now trying to rebuild their lead. Got to watch 87 down here and everybody else with Mahomes at quarterback. First down, Dwayne Bowe. Pressure picked up, and Rice cut down at the 3. So can you force them to kick and settle for a field goal? I don't know if it's 4-down territory down here. On 3rd down, it's intercepted! And it's Ezra Telfer, the rookie! Biggest play of his young career. He intercepts Mahomes in the end zone. What a play this is. And he's just going to break the other way and get Patrick Mahomes in a way very few are able to. All right, guys, you got my attention now. 7-point game and no chance for Cormier. Sending 4. Johnson has time, and it's almost picked off. Off the hands of Leo Chanel. You cannot waste the few opportunities the Chiefs give you. Johnson scrambling, won't get it. Wrapped up short 2 yards. And we will send on the punt team. And just those 2 yards could be the difference between winning and losing, or having a good chance at winning this game. Heck of a pick by Telfer. It'll be tough to do it again. Mahomes play action. Over the middle, intercepted again, and thrown to Devin Lloyd. Had blanket coverage that time. And it's back-to-back 4th quarter interceptions. Another chance created. 8 minutes left to go. This is Cormier. Big hole. Dancing his way down to the 12. Arrington lines up in the backfield now. It's a screen. Johnson takes another sack. And they've both been on slip screens. That really hurts. Arrington's the motion man. And it's caught by Thomas. Big 12 yards. Can they get closer? Johnson steps up, has room, and Johnson takes it to the 1. Nearly scoring the tying touchdown. Joe Johnson enters the game. Less than a yard from the end zone. Handoff. Johnson! Touchdown! Jacksonville! What a game we have here today. And the game has now been flipped on its head. Patrick Mahomes has 6 minutes left to go. We stuff Isaiah Pacheco. Sending 4. Screen completed. Pacheco, first down. Quick throw. Mahomes finds Leno. Now hands off. That's going to be a loss. Pacheco maybe loses a half yard to set up 3rd and 1. If you can get into the backfield here somehow. We're pressing the receivers, not showing pressure. Doesn't mean there isn't something here. We play coverage. Passes caught by Waddle. Of course, he'd go to 87 here in a key moment. Good protection. Pacheco near the first down. And the clock becomes a huge factor now. It looks like they're getting points. But how much time are they going to leave us? Could be last play ahead of the warning now. And it's a pass. Got him that time! That's what I'm talking about, Telfer. Finally completes the sack of Mahomes. It's the 3rd quarterback he's had a chance to do that to. What a time for it to connect. The interception, the sack, now it's 3rd and 8. He's blitzing again. Caught! Rashee Rice to the 13 as we hit the 2-minute warning. We just need to make sure we have time for an answer. Pacheco met by Lewis. Now obviously, we want them to have to kick the field goal here. But they're doing a good job of running the clock down. Pacheco covering the ball. And now a timeout, Jacksonville. I like that we're using our timeouts at least. 1:21. Pacheco getting within a few yards as the Jaguars use a timeout. And so we're going to have to score. We have a timeout and 1:17 remaining. Flag is down. No. No. No, not the roughing the kicker. Not the referees coming out of nowhere and helping the Kansas City Chiefs, who leave the offense on. Not like this. 1:14 to go. Pacheco doesn't get it. But do they even want it? We're out of timeouts. We can't stop the clock. Pacheco taken down by Vita Vea. Sure, it looked cool, but I'm worried right now. 40 seconds left. They're in control. Let them score, guys. Not like this. Unbelievable. It's a 23-yard field goal. And the Chiefs kick it through with 1 second remaining. Roughing the kicker extended their possession. I forgot to edit the penalties because those have been really ticky-tacky. And I don't think I can see the replay on the kick. I'm going to be sick. 1 second remaining. And that's going to be a kneel down. Chuck Johnson, I know that you have done some magical things. This would be something else. Chuck Johnson's going to load up around the 20. Fire deep downfield. It is tipped and incomplete. And the Kansas City Chiefs pull it off again. They can't keep getting away with this, but they do. You just can't beat these guys. The Jaguars fought hard, and hopefully we can still find a way into the postseason. But winning today would have really strengthened our chances. Chuck Johnson, again, plays a really good game. He's been very good this entire season. And man, Ezra Telfer did everything he could. Led us in tackles, had a sack, an interception. What a game for the rookie. Here's the play of him on the blitz, sacking Patrick Mahomes. I love seeing him used as like a slot weapon. So that's going to be enough of that. Hit the kickers all you want. And with the Jaguars sitting at 6-6, we have 5 games remaining. The Houston Texans are on our heels at 5-7 within 1 game. Because we tied our season series against them, the next tiebreaker for a division lead would become division record, which for us is 4-1 and is the same for them. They're about to play the Colts, though, and I think Anthony Richardson could be back. We really need the Colts to do us a favor this week and beat the Texans. So here again, we sit with a legitimate chance at winning the division or at least going to the playoffs. Our Player of the Week honors keep coming in losing efforts, but will we actually take advantage of our opportunities this time? That was a lot of production for a cornerback. I want to see what that turned into for Ezra Telfer, because he needs 6,300 experience for an upgrade. The Defensive Player of the Week honor is worth 1,000 on its own. The sack was worth 195, the deflection 73, the interception 219. Overall, a pretty valuable week then. And he's the current frontrunner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. With that, everybody, thank you for watching today's episode in the Jaguars franchise rebuild. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leaving a like would be a big help to the series as well. And I will catch you in the next episode as we try to put this team in the postseason and have 5 games remaining.